Hello everyone, Linda Israel here, and I've been working on some things for junk journals, and one of my friends and followers suggested that I share a tutorial on making little cluster embellishments. So cluster embellishments are a whole bunch of individual items layered together to make a little embellishment. Some of my friends on Facebook inside my group have sent me things in the mail. For example, like here's a cluster embellishment that someone sent that's very simple. They used a ticket, a heart, a circle, and a little flag, and they stapled these all together. So that could be a small cluster embellishment. And then something a little bit bigger is they use a piece of cardstock, attached some lace, made little pennant banner ribbons, used a punch to do a kind of a scallop circle, and then they punched butterflies, there's 2 of them on there, and then added some eyelash trim and a word. So that's another cluster. So let me show you one that I kind of came up with. So I've got some images from Calico Collage. I have the description box will have links to Calico Collage's images that I'm using today, as well as my blog. So make sure you check that out before you leave the video. So I've got some burlesque images, and then I think these are whims. I don't remember if those are whimsical or if they were flowers, but I'll have the description box. And then I've got some craft color cardstock from Canvas Corp brands, and then I have some distressed ink. So the first thing I'm going to do is using the blending tool. So this is from Ranger's ink, and it's got a little foam thing on the end here. Some people have used makeup sponges. I find that these are so handy because of the handle, and that the little foam piece fits on the bottom of the little minis, so that when you're ready to use it, you always have one that matches your ink. Alright, so that was a long thing. So frayed burlap is what I'm using here, and I'm just going to go right around the edge, adding a little bit of distress ink. Some people will put their items down on their table and blend it that way. This is just the way I do it. Everybody has their own technique. There is no wrong way. Just find what works for you. Alright, so I went around that, and then I have a little shape. Now this is some cardstock that happened to have like postage stamps all over it, and I thought it made a little cute embellishment. And I am using a I think it was an EK Success little label punch, and it's about 2 inches in size. So I'm going to go around the edges of this as well. Then I have these smaller images with squares, and what I've done is I went into my Silhouette software and imported in the images from Calico Collage, and then told them to print each one. And then in my, believe it or not, I used 2 different machines. The Cricut machine, I cut out some squares. I think these are 1.25 inches, so these are supposed to be 1 inch, and that way it has a nice little border around it. And then I have little words. In this case, they say, believe in your dreams. And I have these available in my shop. They are on white cardstock with white words with a black background, and they're all pre-cut, and there's, I think, 30 different words. I'm just going around the edges where the white of the paper shows, and using the distressed ink so you don't see the white. Alright, so I've got distress ink around everything. I'm moving things out of the way. And I think what I want to do is I've got a stamp here that just has some writing. It's from Stampin' the Hand. It's an old stamp. So if you don't have a stamp like this, take a look. There's lots on eBay, Etsy, Amazon, different vendors around there. And I'm just going to go in. I'm patting the brushed... Oh, frayed burlap. I thought it was brushed correlate. Frayed burlap over this. And I'm okay that if the image doesn't come out like it had a lot of ink, because I'm just using this as a background. Pardon me, I'm using this as a background. Kind of got choked there for a second. Alright, so I've got that done. I've got all these pieces. And now what I'm going to do is bring my sewing machine over, and I'm going to do some sewing. Actually, I changed my mind. What I want to do first is I want to glue these together so they don't move around on me when I go to the sewing machine. So I'm just using the No-clog Roddy cap from Scrap Perfect on their glue, the best glue ever. And I am going to make just a little bead just inside. I don't want it really close to the edges because I do plan to sew, and I just want this to be held into place so it doesn't move on me when I get to the sewing machine, because there's nothing like having your piece move and then you're sewing in the wrong place. Alright, well, I'm going to change things around here and get my sewing machine so you can watch as I sew. Okay, I'm over at my sewing machine, and I'm going to do a little zigzag stitch around each of these little Calico Collage images. The next thing I'm going to do is I got a piece of lace here that I want to add, and I've been looking at this trying to decide if I want to lay, I think I'm going to lay it on top, and I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch down the side here. And I know I want this little piece up here, so I'm just going to do a little zigzag stitch on the other side. Alright, so let's start collaging this. I'm going to change the camera view and be right back. Alright, I'm back at my desktop with all the pieces on here, so let's start collaging on here. And I think what I want to do is kind of look at how I want to put these together. Just kind of getting a look at them. And I think that's what I want to do. Alright, so what I'm going to do is use the No-clog writing cap again, because I only want a small amount of glue. So I'm just going to put just a little line here, and I'm going to place this behind this image, and then I'm going to put a bead of glue all the way around and kind of in the middle, and we're going to place that up here in this upper quadrant. And then I've got the smaller one. Again, I'm just going to put some glue in the middle here and adhere that down here on the bottom. And I think, let's look at these words. Believe in your dreams. And let's put this little heart. Yeah, we'll put this little heart right here. And I'm just adhering down the words using the No-clog, just so I only use as much glue as necessary. And nothing more than having your glue squish out everywhere and then everything sticks and it's a big mess. And I decided that I think I want another little heart. Let me see where I want it, or if I do. No, I think you know, sometimes I have to play with things and see how they're going to come together. Alright, well, there is my first little cluster thing that I have made for a cluster embellishment, and I'll have some photos at the end so you can get a good shot of that. But I like the way that is. So this could be a tuck spot in a journal. You just glue it down on this side here, and then you can stick things behind it. It could become a focal point on a page. So there's lots of ways that this could be used. So we'll set this one aside. I've got another little piece here that I've worked on. So this is, again, more of those Calico Collage images. I've gone ahead and sewn around them. And then this is the same base, and I've added the distress inks. So now let's do another collage, and then this is going to become an altered paper clip. I find if I'm adding a little embellishment like this and I need to get perfect placement, that it's easier to glue it on the back side of one of the pieces and then adhere it down. Otherwise, it ends up not in the right spot. And then this time I've got cherish every day as my words. And then what I do for my paper clip back, I'm going to close up the glue so it didn't dry out on me, is I slide a paper clip over the same size shape that I'm using, and then I like to use a white glue, and in this case I'll use the tacky glue. I can use the Scrap Perfect glue, but I don't feel that this is an application that warrants using it because it just needs some adhesive that dries pretty quick and sticks, and this is inexpensive, so I'll alternate between the glues just to save money. And then I line these up and then I take my fingers and kind of press it on either side of the paper clip so it doesn't bow up on me. And then I'll lay it on the table upside down and press my fingers down in where that paper clip is. And that helps adhere these two pieces together. So that is now an altered paper clip. Well, I've got one more. And this one, I'm going to go in and again add the distress inks. Now if I want it darker and my ink just doesn't seem to be doing it with my blending tool, I'll take the actual stamp pad and rub it over the edge of my paper, and that'll get me a darker color. If I would have changed to, say, walnut stain, that would have been darker as well. But I had this on my table, I was using what I have. Alright, I know that I want to place a piece of lace on here, and I want this to go on top. So I'm going to adhere these together just a little bit so they don't move around on me when I take it to the sewing machine. And I'll put just a little bit of adhesive on here as well. Alright, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm going to zigzag stitch around this and be right back. So I've gone around this with a zigzag stitch, and I have added some distress to the edge of my words which say write your story. So we're going to add some of the glue to the back using that No-clog writing cap. And then I have a little heart, and I'll show you in just a moment the punches that I use. Some of them you can still get, some of them you can't, but maybe you can find an alternative that'll work for you. And again, I'll make this into an altered paper clip doing the same thing, adding the glue, and then sandwich this together. So there's the three that I made on the video today. And I said I would show you the punches that I use. So this is an old Tim Holtz heart punch that I know I picked up either on clearance, almost free, a long time ago. This is a Paper Studio little flag. I believe it came in a set of 2 punches. I think there was a triangle and then this shape. You don't have to have this punch. You can hand cut them. Another punch that I used, where'd it go? Was this, I don't know, it's a label punch. It's a 2.5 or 2 inch square punch. And again, if I can find a link to it, I'll have it in my description box. So let me show you some others that I made prior to starting this video. So here's a couple more that I made. And here's another one that I made. And then this one is just another kind of tuck spot. So this is just one version of doing little clusters. Well, I hope you like seeing all of these little embellishments, and it gives you an inspiration to look at some of the things that you have, maybe add some Calico Collage images, take a look at your punches. Maybe you have a silhouette or a cricket and you can cut shapes out there. Use those scraps of fabric and make something, fabric paper, and make something cool. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Of course, comment below if you have any questions or comments that you would like to make. If you are looking for a tutorial on how to do something, please feel free to comment below with what you're looking for, and if I can, I'll see if I can make a video. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Make sure you check out the description box for links as well as my groups, social media, etc. And of course, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell up at the top. Alright, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Have a fabulous day. Bye.